here we are recording this new video, and we are taking a look at my Arcade 1-Up mod. And I'm wearing a CVS2 shirt, right? And so we're going to be modding this, and the purpose behind me modding this Arcade 1-Up machine is to put CVS2 on here. So we're going to be experimenting with this thing, and I am not telling you that I am supporting you modifying your Switch, but I am going to be using my original Nintendo Switch, the original run of the first series Nintendo Switch that came out, first generation. It had a specific motherboard integration that you could use to just pretty much out the box. You could do whatever you wanted to do with it. You can put an SD card in it, and you can just put anything you wanted onto it. So there were some inner workings with it that allowed me to put Sega Dreamcast on it. And within Sega Dreamcast, I figured, man, I can put CVS1, CVS2, and an array of other Dreamcast titles on it. All right, so centerpiece of the mod going to be two things. Number one, it's going to be the Nintendo Switch, right? So to bring to life the games, right? It's going to be the Nintendo Switch. That's pretty much going to house everything. I'm not doing the Raspberry Pi, which is pretty much what a lot of people do when they mod their Arcade 1-Up machine. I'm using a Nintendo Switch. However, this device right here pretty much is going to bring it all to life. This thing is really cool, and I do really recommend this because this is really cool. This is manufactured by Intec Gaming. This is an arcade control board. The cool thing about this control board is that it comes with an HDMI control unit, right? Or a HDMI board, right? This board gives you pretty much control. It gives you the ability to plug in whatever you want to the screen. So this is a one control stop shop, man. This just gives you everything that you need to get going. So show you the unit. Pretty much replaces the full board that you have, right? Full cutout. And in the previous video that I coined in, I showed that I took out the sticks that were there. These were the sticks. I replaced with Sanwa sticks. These were the originals that were there. So we got Sanwas there. I left the buttons. Didn't really feel I needed to take out the buttons, so I left the buttons there. Kept the power on, kept the volume buttons. The original Arcade 1-Up situation comes with one speaker. This does give you two speakers. Now it does have some extra connections there because this is a wireless configuration. So there's a diagram with manuals that pretty much give you a player 1 and a player 2. This is set up like pro controllers. So you have synchronization, and then you have like a home button, a start, a back button, and so forth. The cool thing about this is that if you turn it around, you actually do get wired connectivity also. So you actually get a player 1 and a player 2 connection there with micro USB also. So you have player 1 and player 2 there also. So if you don't want to rely on wireless connectivity, you do want to plug in wired. So that's a cool option there. And I do recommend that you do a wired connectivity because doing things like dashing, this thing does seem a little janky, but this is a real cool option. This is pretty much all plug and play and what you would need. The harness board right here, this connection, it comes with a ribbon that comes with a board that plugs into HDMI, and I'm going to show you that in 1 second. And while we're on it, just as a quick comparison for the Intec board to the Arcade 1-Up control board, this is what's default for the Street Fighter setup versus the Intec. So again, the cutout is literally the same. Obviously, got the one speaker versus the two. Cutout is the same, so this is designed just to drop right in. So very clean. Also, what comes in the Arcade 1-Up default, this is literally the game board that comes inside of the Arcade 1-Up machine. And there is a ribbon in here that plugs into their monitor system. You can actually follow me. All right, we're going to shoot this. This is my first time shooting a video like this. So this block, this is the game board that has Street Fighter. This plugs in, goes just like this. Can you see this? Right? Well, they include their own board. That is this block right here that has an HDMI connection. Their ribbon has this connection that plugs into their controller, that has that proprietary port that I showed you that goes into their controller. Their box that's like this has an HDMI connection, which in turn plugs right into the Nintendo Switch. So this thing, like I said, this controller is a one-stop shop. It makes it so that you can just plug right up to whatever the hell it is you want to. I mean, it's just amazing. Like, it's a really good solution to allow you to connect to the Nintendo Switch, and it just works really, really well. Now, the Switch is a great platform to use because you have the ability to use all different types of emulation. You've got Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, you've got MAME, you've got obviously the Dreamcast. You've got a lot of different options that you can do with the Switch. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the other opportunities that come with this thing. Like, they've got a couple of pieces of artwork. We'll get this thing set up and then we'll keep going. All right, so wild enough, this Intec stick comes with a couple of different I don't know, templates, if you will. There's some cheesy looking ones here, definitely. Some really cheesy looking ones, right? Like the one I'm gonna go with is gonna be this Horuken. This shit is Street Fighter 2. It's obviously none of this is like officially licensed, and I know why it's not real, but they got a couple of options here. Space Invaders. They've got the Final Fight. They've got Rampage. Mortal Kombat 2. Burger Time. The hell is that? Meat. Marvel Superheroes. Centipede. Yeah, they got it's some janky looking stuff, but it kind of is what it is. It's the thought that counts. Paku. Yeah. But you know, just to keep the theme going, they do offer you this guy right here, so that you can keep your stuff looking nice and clean, right? So you can puncture your holes and everything. So I'm gonna get all this punctured and then get this positioned on right. I think it looks pretty decent. Doesn't look too bad. Looks pretty damn clean, actually. Street Fighter 2. Horyuken. That shit ghetto. But you know, the hood made me famous, dog, so I'm all with it. I'm all with the Horyuken. Yeah, let's get over to the cabinet. Okay, we are several days from when we started recording this. If you've seen my game room, I'll card that in. You've already seen that I have this thing positioned. However, at this point, hopefully you are watching this review because this is where we're going to get real technical on my opinion about this thing. Up until this point, it's been all about unboxing and talking about expectations and things like that. So I really hope that you are still watching to this point because I've said a lot of things like it's great, it's great, it's great. And for the convenience it is. Obviously, I have it pulled out right now. What I'm going to do is get it bolted in. The arcade 1-up cabinet has 4 bolts. So what I do like about this thing is if you're doing a modification, if you're taking it from the original stick to steer. You're just using the same 4 bolts that are going to mount it down. Talk about the opportunity with this thing. It comes down by way of performance. Now, I do like the fact that it actually does give you stereo sound versus the original stick that's on this particular unit gives you audio out of one speaker. This is really cool. It's really convenient in that regard. But that's pretty much where it falls short at. It falls short after that point. I am a fighting game player. I used to play this at a professional level. I used to go to tournaments. I used to look to use these type of devices to compete. All right. And that much can be said even for people that do play on YouTube and stuff like that. If you run your channel like a business, you're professional with it. Let's just call it a spade, right? And so I've swapped out these sticks. The buttons, I left them to be what they are because at the end of the day, this is just a novelty piece for me. I do have a more realistic cabinet coming. Make sure you guys are notified if you're not subscribed, or if you are subscribed, so that you'll be able to check out my full cabinet that I do have coming. But this thing falls short in many ways from a performance perspective. So I'm going to show you exactly how I've got the switch hooked up in here, and then we'll go to talk about the biggest opportunities within this unit. All right, so this part of this video is going to really come down to what's going to make this experience possible, okay? Most people that modify their arcade one-up machine, they use a Raspberry Pi, which is a small credit card like size computer. I'm using a Nintendo Switch because you can mod it to do virtually everything that can do plus more. Obviously, you can play Nintendo Switch games and the portability of it all. I'm also going to post this on my personal social media because some of the photos that I shared the other day, I was asked the question. So it's going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. This is a portion in my YouTube video and going directly to my personal. So my Nintendo Switch is an older run. This is the first batch. You essentially need to have a Switch that was manufactured within the first year. You can check the serial number. There's information on the internet. You can do so to check to see if yours is eligible, but it's modified. So I've got a couple of different things here. I've got a 64 gigabyte micro SD card and a 256 gig micro SD card. Excuse me. I have an Android operating system on the smaller guy, and I have Nintendo Switch straight operating system on this guy with games, right? I'm going to connect both of them within this this video right here. This piece right here, this is an RCM loader, right? So this actually has memory inside of it. It's got a male USB-C, plugs into the Switch. It's got a micro USB cable there for you to plug to your computer, and then you would load some software onto this. This makes it so that you don't have to have a computer. So if I'm traveling, like I went to Detroit, I just have my Switch in the bag and I can just jailbreak or load up any operating system that I want, be it Android or the stock Nintendo operating system. So it comes with this little piece right here. So this whole process is like this. You take off the right Joy-Con, you slide this thing down to the right side. You're gonna hit volume up and power. Nothing comes on. If you hit power on your Switch, you know it turns it on. But with this thing being here, it puts it in recovery mode. Now, when I plug this up, actually, let me put in the SD card. I almost forgot that. I'm gonna load Android first. So SD card is loaded. It's in recovery mode. When I plug this in, you get a blue light indicating that the software is loaded. Now I'm in that mode, right? Got a lot of options here I'm not going to go over, but right here I'm going to load Android operating system. And so I have Android loading here. So for those on my personal social media that ask me how, I just explained that. And within this YouTube video of this arcade stick review that I'm shooting this for, you guys are getting an understanding as to what I'm doing, because I initially started the video off saying that I wanted to play CVS2 on my arcade one-up cabinet, and this is how. So this operating system, Android, is loading up, and then when it loads up, I have Android 10 on here. Now, The emulator that I'm using is Redream. Redream is a fantastic emulator that is available on Windows PC. It's available on Android and an array of other different software platforms. So as you can see, I have Android here, full Google Play Store, right? So I can play Xbox with Game Pass, but Redream is how I get, you know, CVS 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, or any games. So I just click for CVS 2 to start. You can either do touchscreen or you can do controls. So plugging up that arcade stick that I'm reviewing for this video makes it so that I can use those controls on this. We have a full Sega Dreamcast. So that's how that works. Now, if we want to do the switch, I'm just going to power this thing off, right? It's shut down. I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I'm going to put in my other SD card, right? I'm going to put this little guy in here because it's turned off. I need to just put it in recovery mode. Right? I hit power, nothing happened. Plug this up. Green light, blue light, I'm sorry. Bam, we are good. Okay, so we go launch. Now I can go to the stock switch stuff where if I want to play like online and things like that, or I can go into custom firmware. I'm going to go into custom firmware. Again, I don't have the Android SD card in here. I have the Switch. So it's loading up to its custom firmware. And my Switch is coming on like it normally would. So a few seconds of waiting time prior, but once it loads this up, I'm able to play whatever I'm gonna play. All my games are loaded on that SD card. My boy Twan was telling me about this triangle strategy game. I put that on there, as well as a few other titles. So if I wanted to play Street Fighter 30th anniversary on this cabinet that I'm doing this stick review for, that's an option too. So just to kind of give you guys the inner workings of how I'm getting all of this to work, right? So at this point, if you got questions, let me know, but I'm going to go ahead and proceed to get this connected to the stick in the cabinet to conclude this video. Okay, so let me get to the conclusion piece of this, right? Let's just talk about the things I like and don't like about this. One of my favorite things is the introduction of the stereo sound. That's a nice upgrade without you needing to purchase like an additional amplifier. The HDMI piece is really nice. I'm not within this video going to connect this using an Android operating system because I'll be able to get all of my talking points about what I don't like using just the stock Switch. I don't think it looks the best if you're playing games that are for 16:9, but it does fit them on there. Like there's no runoff, it's just squished in. And if you're okay with dealing with that, then it totally works. Just for you to be able to have like a nice personal space to play on arcade stick. The console reads these as as Pro controllers, right? So when you go down to controllers, it sees them as Pro controllers 1 and 2. So that's pretty nice. That works really good. Using this thing in like a left, right, up, down works fine. So a person that's casually playing this using like a Mario or something like that, they're going to be fine. I'm on the arcade gaming enthusiast side of things, so I'm going to be really sensitive to things like input latency and such. It's nice that this is also just plug and play. You do get the power on and off switch. You get the, the volume, 50%, 100%, all of those are really nice things. The stick just doesn't work, and it's on both ends. I got sandwich sticks in here. So like just dashing, it just like, it doesn't work. And so like every time you hit down, right? Like it's just intermittent. So like it gets stuck sometime. Like each one of those clicks is an actual down and neutral. It's just, there's like a real funky latency within this, which is really weird because within the buttons are fine. Buttons are fine, totally fine. But Like right there, I'm doing quarter circle forward. I mean, it doesn't work, right? And so because of that, I definitely wouldn't recommend this. So hopefully you've stuck around to this point to kind of see realistically where I'm coming from on this. The reviews that I did watch, which I did attempt to watch some reviews on this, the people that did the reviews didn't really go in enough, in my opinion, on like how this thing works. They often went into like talking about the graphics, and you know how shitty the controller and the sticks are, but from more so from you want to put sound in there. Like you don't have to have sound in there to be able to enjoy this thing. The problems that I am having with this thing is that it's just not working. I didn't change out the buttons. The buttons are fine. This thing is a novelty, so it's not something that I'm going to be playing on a lot, but for the sake of this review, like this is just not working. It's not working out. Like I'm getting some clean dashes there, but it's just, I don't know, man. It doesn't work. So for reference, I will go ahead and connect my 8-bit do controller just so I can make sure and show you guys it ain't me, but this thing is not executing. Okay, and so for the sake of references, wireless, also 8-bit do arcade stick. Did a review of this, actually coming in handy right now, but pretty much in mint condition. Hasn't seen any battles, but wirelessly connected to the Switch. I mean, just works really well. Let me get the buttons situated on here really quick. Default. I mean, it works. Like, I mean, my dashes and everything are there. Just works. Same level of energy and I mean, it works. You know what I mean? Like, this works. And at this point, this thing is now just a monitor, right? For me to be able to play Switch. Like, I'm not sure what it is with this. Like I said, it could be me having a bad unit. The reviews that I've seen, to begin, there's not really many arcade fighting game enthusiasts. I'm talking about competitors that are like into really collecting these things. You know, a lot of people, they're like, they think they're cool. And, you know, I'm not saying that there's not a scene. Obviously, there's people that hold tournaments on these. The newer machines have like net play and such like that. But again, this review is not about the cabinet. It's about this arcade stick. This thing, if it doesn't work, then it does nothing for you. As cool of a compliment it is to this, I'm not sure. So again, I have to decide on if I'm going to do an exchange. If I do an exchange, maybe I'll revisit it. But honestly, I don't think I'm gonna get much use out of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I got. If you guys got any questions, anything like that, I know this video is a bit long, especially with me putting a 6-minute clip in there for the Nintendo Switch mod. But yeah, I wanted to kind of cram everything in there. This is arcade stick week, so gonna be doing sticks all this week of some kind. I'll catch you guys on the next one.